So, David, we're going to talk about rebel offset.
Rebel offset, yes, please.
Can I give a little background to rebel offset, then you can chime in?
Yes, go for your life.
Yeah, so when was this? 2019, around August or September, I was watching the Extinction Rebellion movement growing in the UK, and there was this plan called Heathrow Pause, where some of the rebels headed up by the Roger Hallam were proposing to interfere with the operation of Heathrow Airport as a way of drawing attention to the climate crisis. And when I sat down and did the sums on how much carbon is saved by stopping planes flying from Heathrow for the day, compared to the sorts of fines that people get for blocking traffic, you could actually see that supporting climate activism is actually a way of reducing carbon, which is a different way of reducing carbon than, say, funding the growth of forests or wind turbines. And that's where the concept of rebel offset came from. And you're involved in street activism, and some of your pals are getting arrested and fines. Is that right?
That's correct, yep.
Yeah, so the idea of
that article I just sent you about the research on where best to put philanthropy money has got some good charts that show that investing in protest movements will get you better results in terms of carbon reduction than investing in what they call safe charities. And they are the structured, incorporated charities that become very bureaucratic and rigid and tend to wrap up their whole modus operandi about staying alive more than actually achieving sustainability outcomes. And
yeah, I'm going to bring that up now. So, just where did you send that on the? Where did you send that?
I emailed it to you. I emailed it to you.
Okay, let me just keep talking about the activism. And I was talking to some activists recently who were saying that they would be prepared to be more bold in their activism. But the thing that was holding them back was the fines. And because a lot of people, on pensions and stuff, have got spare time to actually put their efforts into these things, are really, really short on cash.
And that's understandable too, particularly given that the politicians are implementing laws that are going to make street protests even more difficult and more onerous in terms of penalties. Because what's happening is you find that the New South Wales one, for instance, is a $22,000 fine or 2 years jail if you block traffic on a public road.
That's incredible.
Which is outrageous. So I mean, I don't know that rebel offset can seek to offset $20,000 fines, but most when they get these occur mostly before they get to the magistrates can listen to reason, for instance, and in a lot of cases magistrates are not imposing those huge fines, but they're imposing more reasonable $250, $400 fines, which is the sort of focus for rebel offset.
Yeah, okay. And of course the amount that the rebel offset, so the model that we're using at the moment is that 75% of the money raised for people offsetting their air travel or the other carbon emissions, 75% of that will go specifically towards the rebels, and the balance will basically come back to pay for the service to be administrated, and the balance of that will go to support another registered charity, which is Vita Sapien, of course. I've got that document here, so I'm sharing screen. Is that the one?
Yep.
So
that's the one. That's it.
More effective than
James Osden. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll put a link to this in the comments thing. Funding of environmental organizations. WWF gets 350 million a year. Nice. How to be effective.
Now that's the chart. That's the one that shows the results of your involvement. Per dollar invested in Extinction Rebellion achieves that incredible amount of carbon reductions.
Yeah, right. Cost effectiveness. Okay. Now, can you walk us through the graph a little bit more?
I'm not sure that read the stuff above it, which shows that, for instance, Greenpeace and World Wildlife Fund, per dollar invested by philanthropists in them, achieves very little carbon reduction.
Right.
Whereas Extinction Rebellion, with a 750,000 pound UK they're able to achieve incredible things because they actually got laws passed as a result of their particularly their November, December protests in London.
Yeah,
the government there declared a climate emergency, and lots of things flowed out of that to achieve these carbon reductions.
Okay, that's great. This is fantastic because this then becomes a reference document that creates some science behind what we're doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to just go and bring something else up. Okay, so this is. Are you still seeing the screen?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So the idea here is that another innovation for air travel is everybody knows how many hours an air travel flight is, but they don't necessarily know how many tons of carbon they're responsible for in that flight. So what we've tried to do here is to find a really simple little formula that when you're going to buy your rebel offset for your air travel, all you do is you just dial in the number of hours of your flight.
Makes it simple.
Yeah. So there'll be a spreadsheet. I've got a spreadsheet that will go onto the website shortly, and it'll basically just show the formula. But basically, there is a certain number of tons of carbon associated with the plane taking off, and then a certain number of tons of carbon associated with every hour of the flight. And for flights that are over 8 hours, we'll assume that it's actually touched down, and so there's actually 2 takeoffs. And because the takeoff is where there's a huge amount of energy, huge amount of fuel is burnt to get the plane up in the air. And once it's in the air, it burns a very small amount of fuel. And then, of course, when it's landing, it's sort of even less. So we're just accommodating for the fuel burn when the plane takes off, and then the fuel burn when the plane's in the air. And so it's a really simple little formula. If, like, I did a trip recently to the UK, that was an 8-hour and a 10-hour flight. So that's 18 hours. And so all I do is I come onto the pull down menu, for example, in here, that one there, you click in that button there, $56.
You're still sharing your screen. You're still sharing your screen.
Yeah, that's good. I'm just showing.
Oh, well, it's not showing on my screen if you're recording it. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Stop sharing.
Stop sharing. Stop share.
That's better. Now bring up the website.
Okay, go back to screen share. That one. There. That work?
That's it. That's the one. Yep. Good.
Okay. So, okay, I see. Okay. So on the website here, if you're flying to the UK, how many hours is the flight? You know, it's 8 hours to Singapore and then 10 hours to London or whatever it is. That's 18. Come onto the website here, dial in the 18, click the button, pay the money. That comes to Rebel Offset. And what we'll be doing is we'll be finding street activists who have got fines. We'll have the documentation from them. So we've got a paper trail. We'll get them to scan or to send a PDF version of the fine. And then if we can get any photographs or video of the arrest or the action, or maybe even a little 2-minute piece to camera explaining why they put their liberty on the line to raise awareness of climate change.
That's good. If we can get that explanation of why they're doing it, then that explains to the people who come on to think about, well, who are they funding in terms of fines? Oh, that was a good one. That person who blocked a tunnel in Sydney, for instance, who spoke passionately about why she was doing it. Because of the floods in Lismore where she lives. On
the website also, so there's the Rebel page. We don't have any Rebels at the moment, so we're just getting this thing started. This was originally conceived of in 2019. We actually ran it for a while and had some Rebels go through it, and we got paid, but then life got in the way. But now we're coming back to rejig the service.
Yeah, Tarek and Kara, wasn't it?
And this is the page where the Rebels will come to read what they've got to do if they want to be involved in the program. And there's an email address there. You just send the details through. Now, not everybody, obviously, that applies is going to get in the program, because until we've actually got thousands of people offsetting air travel flights, then we just need the money running through the system. And then there's an about page, and on here in the next day or so will be the methodology of how we develop determine how many tons of carbon there are. And one more thing I'll show while we're here. Did that change on the screen? Are we now on the UN page?
Basilo, the UN one.
Okay. So, and basically all of the carbon transactions, all of the transactions will be actually underpinned by carbon credits generated out of the United Nations Clean Development Mechanism program. So you'll actually have, not only will you be supporting the rebels, you'll also actually have a carbon offset associated with the air travel. So that will all be, and this will all be transparent above board, yeah.
Just when people want to apply, going back to the apply page,
yep,
you're going to set up an online application form?
Well, eventually. Well, in the first instance, it will just be send stuff through email. And then eventually, if we've got the resources, if this is successful and money's coming through it, and we've got some money to spend on developers, then we can get like a really slick, make it really easy for people. But of course, we've got to generate revenue through the system before we can actually invest. This is basically just the basic simple version, just to get the idea up and running.
That's good. It's good.
Okay. And at the moment, this domain name, this is just the park site, but it will be rebeloffset.com.
Yep. Which is what I've been telling people. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Well, that's good. Anything else you want to say?
Is the old site still alive?
Yeah, it is, but I have to take it down because so it's not. Well, basically, what we're going to do is we're going to point the domain name at the new site. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I just sent an email, before we started this chat, to my mate in Africa who's doing a lot of flying back and forth to the US, and I've said you must offset by rebeloffset.com.
Well, I think the one that's up at the moment still works. It's just it hasn't. It still works, but we want people to go to this one. So just hold off on your massive marketing campaign until this one's up. It'll be like well, as soon as we get the name connected to it, that will take probably 24 hours. Then a little bit more material that needs to go in the spreadsheets and stuff about the methodology. But she's good to go, basically.
Yeah, a couple of quick things that we might need to allay people's worries. The first is that when we pay a fine, we pay it to the court, not to the person.
Right. Well, that's a good question. So if we get the paperwork and the paperwork comes with a BPay account, then we'll be able to pay directly from a bank to the BPay account
of the court.
Of the court fine, yeah, directly. Yeah.
Some people say, "Oh, he'll pay the fine. He'll use your money to buy a TV set or something."
And absolutely. And look, this is obviously going to be a small team running this, so we're not going to be able to run around and verify everything. So we're relying on the goodwill of these people, and typically speaking, the people that undertake these actions, these are decent, upstanding folk, and so we're looking for people to keep an eye on, self-manage the system. But if we pay directly to the fine, then that's a better way of doing it, and also then we don't have to wait around to get the documentary evidence of it being paid, so we can put it up on the website.
Yeah.
And so ultimately what we need to do is just to reach out to those millions and millions and millions of people who fly in planes and compel them to offset their flights. If they're going to take the flight anyway, okay, best not to fly for the planet's sake. But if you're going to fly, here's an opportunity to do something about it.
So we're going to get an advert in the Qantas magazine, In-Flight magazine.
Stranger things have happened, David.
I know.
I mean, we can write up a press release and flick it out to the Qantas team.
Yeah.
But I dare say this might be a little bit scurrilous for some of those corporate people.
They would try to stop it somehow, so we don't need to aggravate them.
Yeah. I mean, it might be fun to aggravate them, but it may not be strategically sensible.
Not a good business decision.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. That's a good little. It's a good adventure, and I think that between you and I, we'll be able to do some pretty cool stuff.
Let's really make it work, mate. Let's really make it work.
Yep. All right. Okay. All right. Well, that's enough of this conversation. And
all right. Thanks, Guy.
Let's talk soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Look forward to the big party.
Yeah. Well, you should do a launch. You should do a launch event.
Yeah. A launch event for Rebel Offset.
Yeah. Sometime in the next few weeks, once we've got the first rebel in, once we get the first rebel paid, then we'll have a little party and just let everybody know that the system works.
Why don't we do it at the airport? A little stand at the airport.
In the middle of the road leading into the airport.
Yeah, a protest. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about that. And
let's keep that on the coat hanger.
Yeah. All right, mate. Okay. Talk soon. See you.
Take care.
Bye.